Hey guapos, how are we doing? This is Marilena of Astrology.com, and we are back at eclipse season. So this is a new series of eclipses which started in June this year, and it affects all the mutable signs, but primarily Gemini and Sagittarius. So today we have a full moon eclipse at 8 degrees 38 of Gemini. And of course, this means that the sun is exactly opposite at 8 degrees 38 of Sagittarius. So what does this tell us? And does it mean that you are next in line for change? Now, if you follow me, either on my blog or my videos, and now also on Patreon, you will know that I believe, or in my experience tells me, that eclipses are by far the most significant indicators of change in anyone's life. Every time that an eclipse takes place in a particular sign polarity, like Gemini and Sagittarius are, for example, then wherever these two signs sit in your natal chart, that's what's at stake. That's what's under the spotlight. That's what's undergoing change. To give you a couple of examples, in the past series of eclipses, which was in Cancer and Capricorn, I had basically eclipses in my 4th and 10th house over the course of roughly, 2 years, a year and a half. And lo and behold, that was the year that my plans to move abroad actually came to fruition. But this change didn't just mean a new home abroad, but also a new, giving up my old career, essentially, which is the 10th house of my natal chart. But this is not all, because eclipses also seem to narrate a specific course of events in your life. So, for example, 9 years ago, there were eclipses in the same signs, Gemini and Sagittarius. And before that, 18 years ago, and so on and so forth, in increments of 9 years. So if you want to know what this year is all about, because that's the duration of this series of eclipses now, then you can obviously, one thing to do is to look at where in your chart this eclipse is happening. And I can help you with that, because I can either do a reading for you, or you can calculate your chart on my website at sparkastrology.com/chart, and that will tell you in which house Gemini and Sagittarius are. Or you can, and then you can read on my Patreon, if you become one of my tribe, what this means for you in that, based on the house that this eclipse falls into. And this series of eclipses, remember, it's not just one, it's a whole series of eclipses. So it's important to look at the house placement. It's important to look at what happened 9 or 18 years ago. And to give you an example of that, I was thinking of a client of mine who about 9 years ago decided to that her, the family where she grew up was not really helping her grow and thrive, and decided to break up with them. And now, 9 years later, she's trying to set up her own family. So you see, it's all in cycles. Astrology is the study of cycles, and life is a series of cycles, just like history is a series of cycles. Everything is cycles around us and within us. So this time round, as we said, it's going to be in one of your houses, and I don't know what it is for you, so it's different for each one of us. But what we do know is that today is the first one in this season. So there are 2 seasons a year, and it's in Gemini, and the sun is in the opposite sign of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is where the next one in 2 weeks' time will be. And this will be an interesting, that will be a very powerful eclipse. Now, Gemini and Sagittarius are the two signs that deal with knowledge, information, communication in different ways, though. Gemini is more interested with the local area, with what's the small, the facts, and Sagittarius is more, the bigger things in life, like what is higher knowledge, whether it's purpose, whether it's meaning. So you could argue that the polarity between two signs is about potentially truth versus lies, or facts, facts versus meaning, jokes versus joy, and also openness, of mind, and inquisitiveness, curiosity versus dogmatism. And let's not forget that these two signs are not as, I suppose, normally under normal circumstances, just looking at the archetype, not at your personal chart. They tend to struggle with delivering reliably, which is something that the earth signs like doing more. And so there's a risk of over-promising and under-delivering. So don't get your hopes too high, is my advice. And watch what you're saying and what you're writing and what you're promising is what I'm saying. Now, this is especially important this time round because this eclipse and the next as well are both affected by Neptune. Neptune is currently extremely strong because it is stationing to go direct. So it's been retrograde for several months and now it's beginning to go direct, which means it looks like it's stationary. I mean, Neptune it takes so long to move around the sun that obviously it always looks like it's almost stationary, but this is different. So while during the retrograde season, Neptune's effect could be felt in your inner life, now we're talking about the outside world. So it's a time in which lies don't cut it anymore. We want more truth and more reliability, and also it's a time of healing because Neptune is about the highest form of love and spirituality, and so but it's healing through loss at the same time. So ask yourself, what do you need to let go of to heal? Is this a person? Is this a relationship? Is this an imagined future? There's something in your life that you need to let go of. And this is what Neptune is reminding us of. And this is what the full moon eclipse is reminding us of. Because it's a full moon this time around, it is about culminations. It is about endings. It is about relationships, as in oppositions, arguments. But because it's the moon, as ever, it's about our emotional safety. What do we need to feel safe? What do we need to feel comfortable? What do we need to feel felt and heard and loved and accepted? All of these things are coming to the surface, are being stirred during these eclipses and these eclipse season, as a matter of fact. So what is it for you? Do you know where Gemini and Sagittarius are in your natal chart? And do you know what that means? If you don't, I strongly advise you to subscribe to my Patreon. It's a novel feature now. I've decided to create loads of courses, essentially, to teach astrology. So my Patreon is not like other people's. It's not going to be just about, what's going to happen, so forecasts and transits and so on. Yes, there will be that. But for me, what's important is to pass the knowledge on. I want you to learn from me. I want you to learn my way of doing astrology because it's just clear of all the nonsense, the theory, the terms, the jargon. For me, astrology is a tool that can help you overcome difficulties and be the best that you can and lead the best life. So this is what astrology is all about for me. And this is why I do astrology. And this is how I teach astrology. So don't come to me if you want to learn all of the traditional rules and techniques. No, this is not what we're going to be doing. Okay? So I'm here just to help you and perhaps to help you help others as well. So learn with me at patreon.com/Spark Astrology. So you can find me under Spark Astrology on Patreon as well. Well, I hope to see you there, and I hope that this has been useful, enlightening, just like like an eclipse typically is. And if you like this, please like, comment, and share. It helps me tremendously, and it fills me with joy. So have a lovely eclipse, and speak to you soon.